Hi, I'm Vinesh George. I'm the creative strategy director for a brand strategy agency called Brand Cube. I pretty much came into this sort of some mates who gave me a call last year. It's been the second year now, and you can really see the difference that gets done by so many people coming together. It's not just the money that gets built, the money that gets endorsed, but there's a web of information that goes out. I remember 7 years back, I tried to get some MBA buddies together, and let's have a think tank. There are people in Central, and you see people around homeless. It doesn't make sense in Australia. In a place like this, why are they homeless? What's happening? There's of course systemic problems. Money won't solve everything, but when I try to get people together, there was always a kind of a backlash where people used to say, well, they could get up and work. They could do, they're sitting there. I tend to, when I walk past, I tend to drop a fiver, drop a little bit to a person who's asking. And I regularly do see someone, like I've been at the soup kitchen, so I regularly see some people saying, oh, we need enough money to do 120 for a bed to sleep in at the night. And when I drop money in, and used to always get told, in fact, sometimes there was an admonishment that, why are you doing that? You know they're going to have a ciggy. You know they're going to do something else with it. It's all the sham. Thing is, it seems like not enough people used to understand that this is an actual issue. And what the CEO Sleepout does do is, as that message starts pushing outwards, it starts making people realize that, hey, there is something worth listening to. And it becomes a bigger issue than just that this side section of society that's just shouldn't be cared about or shouldn't be bothered with. I've seen that in San Francisco. Like, Silicon Valley is big and bold and beautiful, but you've got littered with homeless people also in the same space. It's not a situation that's only in Sydney or in Australia, but eventually, can a think tank come together? Can people actually bring their resources together? Because you can't always depend on government alone to work this, or just a charitable organization to just by itself do a huge change. You need different organizations to come together, and with these CEOs, with these leaders coming together, that kind of brings not just the message, even the requirement, even the thought that, hey, let's bring some change, let's do something. Especially in a space like here, it should be more possible than in larger systems, larger areas. It's a good, and once we do something here, it might be able to be taken across. That's something that really got me in last year and got me back this year. So definitely not just about, more about increasing the knowledge of the problem than anything else. Yeah. It's actually quite difficult to share a specific message because my experience, each and everyone have got such different, and the stories of how they got there are very different. I think I might have shared this earlier to some of my mates, but pretty early on I was with an aged care home where they used to get some people in, and I met a person who was looking for Radiant Reader and Times magazines, and used to get him those books. At a certain moment I noticed that I kind of knew the person, and it was a person who had been a director of quite a large establishment. Someone who I would never have thought would have been in this situation, and in a protection space, and it just brought. There were certain situations that had happened in his, and which had led him there, and thankfully he was now in a safe place. But it could happen to anyone, and it might be mental instability or any other thing, but there's no advice that I could give, but except support, you just. Sometimes it's just you sit down and listen, and you just say, if you go down to, say, during Christmas, if you go down to the soup kitchens and help out, you will notice the variance of people that are there and how much you get to hear a whole set of stories, and they all have a very different journey. But I still, it's a very difficult space to be able to give some specific advice and help, but you can always give support. If for people who hear this and who also hear about this Vinny's effort, the main thing is to actually just feel that, okay, this is a problem, and it's definitely a problem that shouldn't be there in a place like Australia. Why is it happening? And don't think that it's just because people want it. Nobody wants to be homeless. Nobody would prefer to not work or not think and stay out on the streets and stay out without amenities and without friends. So it's definitely not a choice if you think that. And help is needed, so look into it.